guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this morning's recipe, we're gonna make slow cooker barbecue ribs. So, we have actually made this recipe before. So all you'll need for today's recipe is you're gonna need salt. We're also gonna need garlic powder, smoked paprika, some regular paprika, ground cumin, chili powder, onion powder, and a big thing of brown sugar. Oh, and you'll also need a little, a cup of water. So what I did ahead of time was I went ahead and put my ribs in my slow cooker. And I sprayed my crock pot beforehand. You guys know I like to do that. And we also mixed our spice mix. Okay? So, what we'll do, we're just going to go ahead and pour our water in the bottom. And now it's kind of where the messy part comes in. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and season up these ribs. Now these ribs, you want to make sure that you season them all throughout your slow cooker. Now like I said, I have made ribs before. If you guys remember the last time we did ribs, we had the programmable slow cooker. And the last crock pot we had when we did these ribs, we had the slow cooker where it locks. I don't know if you guys remember that one. But now I have this slow cooker here. It's still programmable, but the difference is it just doesn't lock. All right, so we have one side of our ribs seasoned real good, and now we season the back side. Now, the back side of these ribs do have a bone on them, and the bone just gives it so much flavor that I don't think you should skip it, because you're really missing out on all that flavor. Now, sometimes with ribs, when you make them in your crock pot, sometimes they'll brown. Now, some people, what they like to do is they like to sear their meat beforehand, but you know, I ain't got time for that. So we're going the quick route today. We're just gonna throw them in and we're gonna let these cook on low for 6 to 8 hours, okay, until these ribs are nice and tender and until it's pretty much fall apart, okay. And then what I'll do later is I'll go ahead and I'll put them under the broiler for a couple minutes until they're nice and, you know, that kind of like charred look that you get if you were when you're eating ribs. So we just want to make sure that they're all seasoned. Now, I do have a couple of crock pot recipes that I'm going to make this next week. I'm going to make slow cooker, like a pesto chicken. I'm going to make a slow cooker steak fajitas, and I want to show you guys that recipe, because steak fajita, I feel like I haven't really done in a while. And this pesto chicken recipe, I want to show you guys how to make too. So once you have all your ribs nice and seasoned, you want to make sure that you're really season them real good, because this is the only time you get to season up your meat, okay? And if you don't season both sides, then you're really missing out on a lot of flavor. Okay, all right. Once you have your ribs in your crock pot, the next thing you have to do is I cannot stress this enough. You have to wash your hands after you touch raw meat. You don't want to just, you know, move on to you don't want to touch your lid, because that's cross-contamination, and we don't do that on this channel. So something I've always told you guys is when you always cook any kind of meat, you always make sure you wash your hands before you do the next step, okay? So I'm going to wash my hands, and then we'll come back, and we'll go ahead and put our lid on, and I'll discuss you through the next step. Now, this crock pot recipe is very simple to make. It's actually not as hard as you would think. It's very simple to do. It's actually one of the recipes that I love. I love ribs, honestly, to be honest with you. We've actually made these ribs before, and that's why I like making them. Now, I will tell you guys this. We don't make ribs very often, because ribs are so inexpensive Ribs can be very expensive, and any kind of meat that you buy can be very expensive. Like when I make my slow cooker pork, that can get expensive too. Pork is very expensive, just like ribs. Okay, so that's what kind of why, like, you know, like you don't see me make my slow cooker pulled pork very often either, because it's really inexpensive. But it is so good. Okay, so we have seasoned up the ribs. I'll show you what these look like. These are what your ribs look like, and this crock pot's so heavy. See? That's what they're gonna look like. All in your slow cooker, all seasoned up real good. Lid goes on. Put this in the bake. Oh my god, it's heavy. And you're gonna cook this on low for 6 to 8 hours. Now, we are gonna cook this on low for 8 hours because I think when you cook it low and slow for a long time, your meat will be more tender. Okay, now we have discussed this before. Whenever you cook meat this long, whenever it's an 8-hour cook, you have to make sure that it cooks all day. You have to make sure that the meat falls apart. So I'm just gonna walk, and literally you just have to put this back on your slow cooker, and you don't have to do anything else for the rest of the day. Just go ahead and go do something else while you're at it. Cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours, and then we will come back and we'll show you what the crock pot ribs look like, because these ribs are going to be so good and so fantastic. And as I mentioned before, when we make these ribs, the ribs cook on low for 6 to 8 hours, and they will be falling apart. So let's go ahead and set our slow cooker so we can let the slow cooker do its magic. Okay, so I'm gonna go select low and then my time. Now, if you wanted to, you do not have to set a time. You can just cook it on low and let it be. But I like to do the time just because I like to kind of know when these are done. So 8 hours is what I want. Low heat, low and slow. We'll be back in a while to show you what these ribs look like. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my slow cooker ribs recipe, and we'll be back in a little bit to show you what we're gonna do next. Bye, log on, peace out, boom. Okay, bye guys.